What's up guys, it's Ivan, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my successful statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education. So it's been 10 years since I got admitted into the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and within those 10 years, a lot has changed for the program. So this statement of purpose is actually for the Education Policy and Management program, which doesn't exist anymore because HGSE has remodeled their degrees. So when I am reading and analyzing this statement of purpose, I want you to keep that in mind. However, the tips I am going to give you today will still apply no matter if you're applying 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or this upcoming year. Before I get into the video, I do want to remind you that I offer a statement of purpose review service on the freelance platform called Fiverr, which is linked down below. With that service, I will provide you with specific advice and feedback to help you strengthen your statement of purpose for HGSE or any programs you are applying to. Over the course of 3 years, I have helped over 200 clients get into their dream graduate school program. Go check out my Fiverr account, and I look forward to working with you. The Education Policy and Management Master's program at Harvard University aligns with my commitment to address social justice issues. My goal is to become a transformative leader in research-driven education reform at the local level in order to improve the lives and shape the futures of marginalized students in small, rural towns in the state of Washington and beyond. Specifically, my graduate goals are to develop policy that will improve the educational experiences of marginalized young people. The EPM program at Harvard University will best equip me with the theoretical knowledge and practical experience to become an agent of change, to improve the quality, coherence, applicability, and educational significance of intervention programs for the underserved. When I was writing my statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education, I wanted to make sure that the introduction provided the reader with the blueprint of what they should expect to learn more about in the rest of the statement of purpose. And what I mean by blueprint is that I am going to provide my career goals, my field of interest or my research interests, the program I am applying to, and why I am applying to that program. What do I want to do beyond the master's program? By answering these questions in the introduction, I already let the committee members know why I'm interested in their program. And so how I did that is I provided the name of the program, right? I'm applying to the Education Policy and Management Master's program. At the time when I was applying, there were 9 master's programs and 1 PhD and 1 EdD program. So you have to let the committee members know which program or concentration you are applying for, because the committee could be made up of different faculty in different programs. Then I mentioned my broad interest. So it aligns with my commitment to address social justice issues. That's really broad. After that, I provided my specific interest. So I said I want to become a transformative leader in research-driven education reform at the local level. So you see how I am being very specific with why I am applying and what I want to do. So I want you to be that specific when you are writing your statement of purpose. Then I go even further and say I want to do this in Washington and for rural communities. So be specific, and being specific is going to help you stand out from other applicants. Then I write briefly why I'm applying for this program and what the program can provide for me. And so I mentioned that the program could provide for me theoretical knowledge and practical experience because I want to learn how to build programs, intervention programs to support underserved rural students. And so I want you to leave your introduction with one sentence describing what you want to gain and why you want to gain those skills in this program. Later on in your statement of purpose, you are going to describe in more detail why you're interested in your specific program and the institution. Growing up as a low-income Mexican male, I experienced firsthand the limitations that the American educational system presents to students like me. My parents immigrated to the United States from Michoacan, Mexico in the mid-1980s. Due to the language barrier, lack of education, and limited financial resources, their employment options were limited to strenuous agricultural work. Like me, many young Latinos in the state of Washington are exposed to hard physical labor early on in childhood. The financial strain alone often places higher education beyond reach. It is not just a matter of high tuition, but also the prospect of losing vital family income that keeps Latinos and their children tied to migratory farm labor. I want to use empirical research to design, evaluate, and implement culturally sensitive educational programs to help young Latinos and their families break out of this vicious cycle of poverty. So my intention with the first paragraph of my statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education education was to showcase a little bit about me and my context. I wanted to stand out by mentioning that I come from a Latino background, from a rural background, and as a seasonal migrant farm worker background. And so I wanted to showcase this because this really helps shape why I'm applying for this program and what I want to do beyond the master's program once I graduate. I want to return back to my rural community, right? And so when you are writing your body paragraphs, you have to show evidence of how you are already contributing to reaching your goals that you stated in the introduction. And so for this paragraph, this is my personal story paragraph, and you're only allowed to have one personal story paragraph. I want to make sure that you understand this. The rest of your statement of purpose should all be tangible experiences that have led you to applying to this program and not anything personal. You only allowed one personal essay paragraph. And so for me, I wanted to describe a little bit about my background, who I was, what type of work my parents do, what type of experiences I have had in the educational system, and how those have shaped my interest in the education policy and management program at Harvard University. And so at the end, I say that I want to use empirical research to design, evaluate, and implement culturally sensitive educational programs for young Latinos and their family. So that gives you an idea of how my story ties into what I stated in the introduction and how that is tied to why I want to go to Harvard for this program. Attending public schools in rural working class towns in the state of Washington presents many challenges. For instance, in 2010, there were only 39 students in my graduating class. I was only one of two to matriculate to a four-year college. This is concerning because Soap Lake High School has trio programs such as Upward Bound and Avid that specifically target and prepare students for higher education. The problem with such programs is that they do not provide students with the practical experience of applying to college. Witnessing my community struggle to attain higher education makes me passionate about work in the field of education. I know all too well the importance of addressing barriers that marginalized students face, and I understand the powerful role that policies can play in the realization of a student's academic potential. And so here, I continue to describe a little bit about my educational experiences and how even though I had access to trio programs that can help me apply to college, they weren't successful. Only 2 students from my graduating class actually went to college. And so by me attending the education policy and management program at Harvard University, I would gain the skills and knowledge to be able to inform some of these programs in my local town, to be able to increase the number of students attending college. My interest in education reform matured when I attended a competitive summer research program at the University of Arizona in the summer of 2014. The experience opened my eyes to the research sector of education policy. Under the guidance of Dr. Nolan L. Cabrera of the Department of Educational Policy Studies and Practices in Higher Education, my work focused on the educational obstacles and coping strategies of Latino males. My mentor and I used research to dissect the possible issues that play a role in the vanishing Latino male in higher education. Given President Obama's My Brother's Keeper initiative, this research speaks to an underexplored area in higher education scholarship. Our findings suggest the need for intervention and implementation programs directly targeted to Latino males. For example, I learned that Latino males are unlikely to seek academic help and support due to the stories of patriarchy, which are told, retold, and reinforced in Latino male culture. The lack of help-seeking behavior among Latino males and the dearth of efforts to address these and other issues combine to hinder Latino male academic achievement and retention. I am committed to becoming a skilled and informed researcher in this area with the goal of eradicating the current phenomenon of the vanishing Latino male in higher education. So this paragraph describes my research experience at the University of Arizona and how I identified some gaps in the literature and in the practical experience to support Latino males in higher ed, and how I wanted to develop empirical based policy to address those equity gaps. And so some key things that I want you to know is that when you're describing your experience, you want to provide context. So for example here, I mentioned the name of the program, I mentioned the institution, I mentioned the year I did this, I mentioned the mentor that I had to conduct this work, I mentioned what I found in my research and how this ties to attending graduate school at Harvard University. So I want you to do the same thing when you're describing your experiences. My actual experience as a participant in the College Assistance Migrant Program also stimulated my research and career interests. This TRIO program is designed to guide first-generation college students from seasonal migrant farm worker backgrounds through their first year in college. After the first year, I noticed, however, that the majority of students in my cohort who had dropped out of college were Latino males. Bothered by this phenomenon, I sought to explore the reasons for this in my independent research project with the Ronald D. McNair Post-Baccalaureate Achievement Program, a federally funded program designed to prepare students for doctoral programs through original research. The McNair Achievement Program at Washington State University emulates the rigor of graduate school, and it expects students to produce high quality research. So in this next paragraph, I tied a personal experience with the College Assistance Migrant Program to my second research project with the Ronald D. McNair Achievement Program. And so if you are describing your personal experiences, you have to tie it into a practical experience that you have done that helped you close those equity gaps for your personal experience. Currently, I am conducting original research with Dr. Olusola Edesope of the Department of Educational Psychology at Washington State University. Our work analyzes the role Latino fathers play in their children's pursuit of college with the methodology of utilizing questionnaire data and analyzing its results through descriptive statistics. Through my own education, I noticed that very few Latino parents were involved in their children's education. The few that were involved were mothers. For example, my mother attended all my parent-teacher conferences and saw to it that I completed my homework. My personal experiences, coupled with relevant literature, suggest that Latino fathers are less engaged in their children's education. This raises questions about cultural expectations and gender roles. The main focus of my research is to better understand why Latino fathers may be hesitant to be involved in the education of their children. My research can lead to implementation of parental involvement programs tailored to the needs and expectations of Latino parents. So in this next paragraph, again, I describe a personal experience I had with my own parents and the lack of father involvement in my own experience to my independent research with the Ronald D. McNair Achievement Program. And so again, if you are tying a personal experience, make sure that you inform that personal experience with either practical experience or research experience. And then I want you to describe how you did that research. So here I mentioned that through the Ronald D. McNair Achievement Program and through the mentorship of a faculty member in the College of Education, I conducted research on father involvement in educational schooling. In this case, it was middle school and high school. And so I describe a little bit about what the current literature has said and what my approach was going to be, because at the time of me applying for this program, I was currently conducting that research project. I want to continue my research interest at Harvard University by working as a research assistant with the Achievement Gap Initiative. Specifically, I want to contribute to the How I Was Parented project, which examines the parenting styles of students from a variety of backgrounds. This will allow me to learn about the best and proven practices that can work in rural communities to better engage families in the education of their children. This I plan to incorporate in my own community. So in this next paragraph, I begin to tell the committee why I am applying to their program and what the resources can do to help me improve my practice and knowledge. And remember, I included this in my introduction of my statement of purpose. And so I want you to note here that I mentioned a project that a faculty member was already doing at the institution. So I want to work as a research assistant in the How I Was Parented project. And you see how this project relates to my research on father engagement. So I'm already showing the committee that I have evidence in trying to achieve my goal by already conducting independent research at the undergraduate level, but that Harvard also provides some type of project that can help me expand that work. I have reflected a great deal about the obstacles that Latino students face as they try to navigate the American educational system. Before I try to do my part in reforming public education for marginalized students, I need to acquire deeper knowledge of educational policy and more expertise on how to bring about long-lasting institutional change. I want to do this at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. I am particularly drawn to the Education Policy and Management Master's program because of the opportunity to select courses that best match my interests, experience, and goals. Particularly, I am interested in taking Dr. Roberto Gonzalez's class on contemporary immigration policy and educational practice, and Dr. Karen Mapp's course on the elements of effective family school partnerships. It is also attractive to have the opportunity to cross-register at the Kennedy School of Government and the Business School. This will allow me to view education reform from different perspectives. Additionally, the field internship program will enrich my graduate experience and give me the opportunity to put theory into practice. I am excited at the chance to work at an education reform nonprofit such as the Center for Collaborative Education, where I can design and implement programs to bring about the kind of long-lasting intergenerational change that I envision. So these next two paragraphs are my why this program, why this institution paragraph. And so here I describe why I want to attend the Harvard Graduate School of Education, specifically the Education Policy and Management program. So I name drop two professors' courses I want to take. So when you are writing your why this program, why this institution paragraph, I want you to name drop the resources, the courses, the centers that you want to participate in that match what you've been writing throughout the statement of purpose. Oftentimes when people are writing their why this program, why this institution paragraph, I see that students write themes that they want to be involved in that match nothing that they wrote about in their introduction, in their body paragraphs, and why they're choosing to apply for these programs. And that's a mistake, and that will get you denied by HGSE if you don't connect your statement of purpose with evidence of you already trying to achieve your goals and gaps in your knowledge and skills to achieve those goals that the HGSE programs can provide for you. And so here I also name drop that I want to cross-register at the Kennedy School of Government and the business schools. But I also describe why I want to cross-register. Don't just name drop something and not follow up with how that's gonna bridge your skills and knowledge to achieve your goals. Then I mentioned how I want to participate in the field internship program, but I also want you to note that I did my research. I wrote that I want to work for the education reform nonprofit called the Center for Collaborative Education, and I took a step further and described how that field internship program is gonna help me gain the skills and knowledge I need to design my own programs. So I want you to do the same thing when you are writing your why this program, why this institution paragraph. Upon completion of a master's degree in education policy, I plan to secure the fellowship with the Congressional Hispanic Institute, CHCI, in their Graduate Fellows Program in Higher Education. This fellowship will grant me the opportunity to gain hands-on experience in a congressional office and develop and execute policy summits to promote public policy issues of importance to Latinos. In this next paragraph, I wanted to showcase to the committee what my next step was after graduation. At this point in my life, I wanted to work in DC in education policy, and so I found this program called the CHCI Graduate Fellows Program in Higher Education. And so I told the committee, here's my next step. Once I gain the skills and knowledge that I need to reach my goals at the Harvard Graduate School of Education, my next step is to apply what I learned in a fellowship program in DC. And so when you are writing your statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education, I want you to have a short paragraph describing what is your next steps after you graduate. How are you going to apply the skills and knowledge you gained in the program in the real world to make transformational change? My voice is shaped by my unique experiences, circumstances, and opportunities, and I want to express it in the education policy sector. I have many qualities that will facilitate my experience as a graduate student and my career as a researcher. With degrees in English secondary education and Spanish, my experiences as an education researcher, and having grown up in a small rural town, I will be an effective policymaker and institutional change agent on behalf of some of the neediest in American society. Thank you for considering my application. So this is my concluding paragraph, and here I wanted to showcase to the committee what unique experiences I brought to the classroom, the program, and the institution. So I described a little bit about my experience, my degrees, and my vision for transformational change. And I want you to do the same thing when concluding your statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Alright guys, I hope that me reading my successful statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education helped you gain clarity of what you can write in your own statement of purpose. Again, if you need help polishing your own statement of purpose for the Harvard Graduate School of Education, I do offer a statement of purpose review service on the freelance platform called Fiverr, and I am happy to help you get into HGSE this next academic year. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.